welcome everyone. Welcome back to Yoga Berry, your Yoga for Scoliosis community. And today I'm here with Caroline Freedman, and she's the author of this fabulous book, which we're going to be talking about. So it's the Scoliosis Handbook. And she's gone through 3 scoliosis surgeries herself, and she's a very experienced personal trainer. So I thought it was great to talk with her today. So thank you so much, Caroline, for joining me.
Thank you for asking me.
And I thought we start maybe with your own scoliosis story. So take us back to when you had your first surgery and kind of those few months maybe before the surgery. How was that for you?
Well, my scoliosis was discovered when I was 15. I was in an exercise class with my best friend, whose mother was an exercise teacher. She taught Lottie Burke, which is a little bit like Calonetics, now sort of been brought through to Pilates slightly, or Barre, is probably nearer Barre. And I was bent over the bar and was meant to have a flat back, only mine wasn't flat. So she knew my parents, she phoned them up and said that I had a crooked spine. So I was taken straight down to the doctor, and then we sort of were thrust into the world of scoliosis. So from there, I exercised a lot because I wanted to try and stop the curve. But my curve was discovered when it was quite severe. So it had gone over 35 degrees, which they say is the kind of benchmark for falling like a tree once it gets over 35 degrees. So I got to the age of 19 and it had become really quite bad. My heart and my lungs were being compressed. And I wasn't even bothered, oddly enough, at that stage about what it looked like. It was more about how I felt. I had a lot of pain from pulling across my back.
Yeah.
I mean, I did have a hunch, quite a severe one, but I think I was so used to it that that's just how I looked. And then I had my first surgery. So with the first surgery, I was fused from T2 all the way down to T11, and also I think through to my lumbar as well, a little bit.
Okay. So just for people who don't know, this is my mini spine here. So it's pretty much the whole of the thoracic spine, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Kind of this.
And at the time, I had a rod down through my lumbar, although the actual spine wasn't physically fused with other bone. So I had my fusions. I had 5 ribs cut off. My rib cage, if you put your hand in the middle of your body, you feel the center of your rib cage. Well, mine was halfway along my breast, right down there at the center, and it was tilted as well.
Okay.
So it was quite severe. So I had my ribs turned around in surgery, 5 of them cut off where they completely buckled, and those ribs were used to fuse my spine. And then I had a Harrington rod put in the whole length, which is a picture you see. I show you on the front of the book.
It's on the front of the book, yes.
It's all the way down. I had the surgery. I wore a brace for 6 months. The recovery was mainly at home. After 6 months, I was told to swim and then get back to exercise again. Well, I did that, and I got really, really strong. And then I did something quite stupid. I decided to show off and do a back bend in an exercise class, and I snapped in half.
It snapped, and it was. I mean, I read it from your book, and you've obviously told me before as well. It was quite an extreme back bend, wasn't it? So it was kind of like a
it was stupid. It was from standing up, going all the way back. I mean,
trying to drop back, actually.
I was 22, and really, I mean, no words for that. So I've had to go back in, because sometimes if the rod snaps, you can actually keep it in and it settles down, but mine didn't. I couldn't really feel my toes properly one day when I was driving, which wasn't really very good. So I went back in, and it turned out one of the fusions hadn't actually taken. So I had that rod taken out and then the 2 shorter rods put in either side. Had to go through wearing a brace again. And then it came off just before I got married. So all my dress fittings were with a brace. We used to joke I could just leave my brace there and not bother to turn up. And then I started exercising again. I was in quite a lot of pain though. And I went to a physiotherapist who said to me, you need to get really super strong. I also wanted to try and have a baby. And I was told, if you want to have a child, you need to get to athletic fitness, to really not have any pain, to be able to hold the baby properly. That will be the best thing for you. So I took that advice really to heart, and I would say exercise has been my salvation. It really has. If I don't work out, I do get some pain. When I'm training, I feel great. I don't really get any pain. So I took that to heart. There was a girl trainer in the gym that she was an excellent trainer, I could see, and I asked her to train me, and she refused. She said she didn't know anything about scoliosis. She was frightened of what she would do. And I said to her, but I want you to train me. And she said, but I'm not going to. And this sort of joke went on for about 4 or 5 months. I would say to her, you're going to train me one day. And she'd say, no, I'm not. And then one day she came up to me and she said, okay, I'm going to train you. So I said, well, hang on a minute, what's changed? So she said, well, I've been asked to train a girl band. One of the girls has got scoliosis and she's really in trouble with the choreography. She can't get her arms up in the air and I really need some help. So I really want this job training these girls. Can't say who they are, but they don't move very much when they sing. So that's as far as I can go with it. Not really for me to say who has had the surgery. So
sure.
Anyway, I ended up being trained. I was training 3 times a week with the trainer. I was going to the gym all the time. I got super strong. I had 2 children through whilst I was being trained by her. And I was really lucky. I didn't have to have a cesarean at all. I had normal childbirth, so I was really lucky. And I would advise, if you can, trying to find a doctor who's treating you that does know something about Harrington rods and about surgery, because that's really important, that they don't just think, oh, you need a C-section because you've had back surgery. Because everybody's different, but for me, I need it. So it's difficult when I'm talking like this. It's obviously from a personal experience, and I do know from training lots of clients with scoliosis, everyone is different. Everyone, a lot of people feel the pulling across the rib cage, but most people have slightly different things. We all have different bodies.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And also what I find is you can speak to 4 different doctors and they might tell you 4 different things. So this is where it becomes really difficult, isn't it, when there's so much different advice around us, and then we also have our individual bodies, obviously.
Yes.
So I think it's really important that you share your experience, and I like that you, in the book, you very much say, this is, how it was for me, and all your tips. This is one of my favorite sections, actually, at the end of the book, where there's all sorts of different tips, and I can really tell that this is from your very personal experience and they're very practical tips. So yeah, brilliant.
Yes, the tip chapter, one of my clients actually suggested it because she was calling me from hospital asking me, what should I do? The nurses don't quite know what to do. I don't know how to get comfortable. And then she said to me, why don't you do a tip chapter for your book? Because you're always giving me tips. So that's how the tip chapter came along.
Yes. And in the beginning I thought, oh, this is a little bit random, isn't it? Because you were talking about parachuting, and you're talking about traveling, and then you're talking about bowling, I think, at some stage. But I really enjoyed that, because it makes you think about different activities, obviously, and different. And you say about that your surgeon obviously said hairdressing is not a great profession,
Yeah.
for example, to go into because of the asymmetric movement.
So using, yeah, exactly, using one hand the whole time in one way. So anything like an imbalance.
Yes, and even if people might not be thinking, well, I'm not going to be a hairdresser anyway, but you start to think about, well, there's lots of other professions maybe where you would also be doing kind of these asymmetric movements all day, every day.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I was at London College of Fashion doing pattern cutting and design, and I was told, well, it's slightly different now because of the way that it's all computerized, but when I was at college, it was all, you know, a very physical job, and the cutting of the fabric right across the table was all, it was heavy scissors, and I was told, can't do that for a living. You finish your course, but you can't do that for a living.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so kind of, it depends what people have got their hearts set on, and sometimes you can get around it, and there's lots of ways to get around things and adapt. So if you've got your heart set on a profession, and don't let me put you off.
No, absolutely. And for you, you just then happen to decide to change careers, I guess. You said you're working in the fashion industry before.
Yes, I was a fashion stylist, mainly dressing presenters for television. And when I was training with Nikki Waterman, who is the person that got me to be a trainer, I was styling her for some television that she was doing. She became quite a well-known health and fitness writer and TV person. She worked she was the health person for The Sun. Sadly, Nikki's no longer with us. Her daughter was lovely and gave me permission to write about her in the book. That she got me fit, and she also was the one that said, I think you should be a trainer. And I said to her, you're kidding. She said, no, I think you should definitely go and do it, and I'll help you. So it's thanks to her that I got to this place. So the rest of my story goes that I had my kids, and I've been trained for years, and the third surgery was 4 years ago. My spine had rotated. So if you put your little spine up.
Yes.
Please. Thank you.
My mini spine.
Okay. So if you now take it, and you see the transverse processes, the little sticky out bits, yes. Yeah. Mine had, if you can turn the top of it had rotated around. So they'd come so they were facing.
This one actually does turn.
Yeah. So the transverse process is now sticking out. Yeah. Of my spine. So when I tried to lie flat, I couldn't, or in a chair, I had them sticking out. They call it shark back, which is a really horrible expression, but that's apparently what it's called. Okay. So well, there's a more technical term, but anyway, so I was very uncomfortable. Wherever I went, I'd scan a restaurant and think, can I even sit in that chair? I couldn't lie flat. Not that I'd ever been able to really lie flat all my life, but this was getting worse and worse, and I was really uncomfortable. And it was also starting to look horrible. I was more conscious of that than I had been before I had my first surgery. So I found a surgeon that said that he could do the whole surgery. He could do something to my ribs that the two lower ones hadn't been taken out from the other surgeries. They were sticking out. So if I was to do an try and do anything on my back, those ribs would be quite sore after I'd worked out. I went to see 3 different surgeons to get some opinions. One of them said, don't touch it. Another one said, do half of it. And the surgeon that ended up operating on me, can I mention his name? Yes, of course, yeah, sure. Stuart Tucker. He actually, I think that he taught the other 2 surgeons. So when I told him who I'd been to for his other opinions, he said, oh, I know them really well. They were my housemen. So, okay. Look, I think you should do the whole thing. So I booked it in, then I chickened out. Then I booked it in, then I chickened out. And then I thought, you know what? I can't stand any more of this. I'm going to get it done. So I had it done. I woke up in the special sort of, it's not quite intensive care, but it's a step down from that. I woke up and the first thing I thought was, oh my goodness, I can feel my left side of my body lying flat. I'd never felt that. It was, I can't even explain the feeling of waking up from this surgery and just thinking, huh, hang on, I can feel my back. And that's all I could think about. I was so happy that, I mean, I was a bit out of it, obviously, but it was just the feeling of waking up and having that moment of, wow, I've never felt like this before. So it's really, the third surgery was really successful. I've been really happy with it. And my recovery, I didn't have to wear a brace.
Okay.
I was, obviously I had to take time off work, but I was teaching after 2 weeks. I was just sitting in my studio with clients coming to me and I was pointing. And then slowly, I'd join in a bit. And then I would exercise and get myself really, really strong. So, yeah, and it's been the best thing that I did was to have this third surgery. I know that people are very scared of surgery, and I'm not saying it's right for everybody, but for me, it was right. It was the right thing to do, probably because I hadn't caught it early enough.
Yes, yeah. And you obviously had a great surgeon as well, so...
An amazing surgeon. But my daughter had surgery, my daughter has scoliosis as well, but I caught it because I was watching her the whole time. And she was braced at the age of 17. That was not easy. It's really hard at 17 to... It's
quite late, actually, isn't it? 17?
Well, it is quite, it was quite a minor curve. It was 28 degrees.
Okay.
So I got it before 35 degrees. It was 6 months before she was about to stop growing, which is when apparently, so I've been told that that's the best time, especially for girls. It's quite successful because once you stop, you're fused naturally.
Yeah.
So she wore the brace she meant to wear it for 6 months. She probably wore it for about 4, and she wore it at night. She was meant to wear it all day, but she wore it most of the day. So I would say probably she could have worn it a little bit more, but she wore it 3/4 of the amount of time she was meant to wear it for, but it did correct it. It went down from 28 degrees to 18, and it settled at 22.
Okay.
So the brace can also work. And I've seen another of my clients in a brace, a young child, and he's gone all the way through to now. He wore it for quite a few years, but he doesn't need surgery in his straight. So
yeah. So again, it highlights also that there is obviously a genetic component to scoliosis, isn't there? So your daughter obviously I have some family members that have scoliosis as well.
You do as well.
I do as well, yes, on both sides of my family, actually, interestingly enough. And my cousin has gone through the whole bracing process, but for a long period of time, and with exercises as well. And he's now not growing anymore. So now it's actually, we always say, you know, your scoliosis journey doesn't stop once your brace is gone, or once you've done your operation. This is really when it starts, doesn't it? So I'm sure you would agree with that. It's kind of a lifelong thing.
Yes.
And it's the maintenance of it, isn't it? It's not something that...
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. It's the maintenance, and it's exercise, and you know, yoga's amazing for scoliosis. It's building up the strength of the muscles in the spine and your core. And any exercise is good if you're keeping, as long as you're keeping your back nice and strong.
Yes. Yeah, lovely. So let's talk about your book a little bit more. So I really like the structure of it. So you talk about your scoliosis journey, obviously. You talk about your daughter as well, which is lovely. And then we've got part 1, which is about surgery, about exercise before surgery. And then you've got the don'ts after surgery, which is what I would imagine most people will be really interested in. So my question is, first of all, how long after surgery do you think, when should you be starting to think about exercise? And then let's talk about some of those don'ts. What should you definitely avoid?
So after surgery, your doctor will tell you when it's okay to start exercising. So you have to, I would say the one thing, biggest advice I can say is really listen to your doctor, because they really know. They've seen so many people with scoliosis. They know what they're talking about. So I did everything that I was told by the surgeons, I have to say, apart from the back bend, obviously. But yeah, so if you've had surgery, I was told 6 months after the first 2 surgeries, when I had the big scoliosis surgeries. And then I was told to swim to start with. Then a few months, probably about 6 weeks after that, I started doing some exercise. I went to the physiotherapist and they gave me exercises to do. It's really important that you go to someone who understands scoliosis. And that's one of the reasons that I wrote the book. Mm-hmm. It's so important, because some physios, they haven't had that much experience. They might have experience in other fields, but just check that the person you're choosing does know, or that they read up on it. They really understand what's going to be good for you and what isn't. And I found that out through experience. I've been through so many physiotherapists over my time, and I would say a few of them, you know, I came out of there and I was in such a state because I'd been overworked, given weights that were very, very heavy, or others just didn't really know what to do. I had one physio at a well-known hospital that just got me doing steps on a stepper. I mean, what that was going to do for my back, I don't know. But yeah, so that's, I would say, really try and, if you can and you have the choice to research, just double check, and then just say that you know, you'd rather someone who knows exactly what they're doing.
Yes, and that's sometimes not the easiest thing, isn't it? Which is why the book, I think, is going to help a lot of fitness professionals as well. Yes. Because there is still a kind of a lack of understanding of scoliosis, and very often people, if they don't understand it, or if they hear you've had surgery, they will, like you said with your trainer as well, they might just say, you know, I'd rather not. Yeah. Yes. Of doing something wrong, which is a very valid fear, obviously, isn't it?
Yes, and I know that the lady that asked me to write this book is from Aspire Leisure Centre at the Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital, Stanmore, and she said to me that she works and she's had a cardio training there, but she also gets scoliosis patients because obviously it's at the Royal National Orthopaedics. So she said to me that they really didn't know what to do with scoliosis patients. So I said, you know, what do you mean you're in a place of excellence for scoliosis? She said, but when they come to us, there's no guidelines and we don't know. Could you write a book about it? So that's how the book came about, and that's somebody who's right at the forefront, you know, right there where scoliosis surgeries are being performed, and the staff there didn't know what to do. So yes, your point's completely right. Yeah.
So what are some of these things then where you would definitely say this is a no? I mean, apart from dropping into a wheel pose.
Yes. So anything where you're trying to do a shoulder press. So if you're trying to bring your arms up,
yeah,
your alignment won't be the same as other people's. And also it puts too much stress. You'll end up probably straining the muscles here, which are really uncomfortable. So I would absolutely avoid, you know, if you see in the gym and you see those machines and people are pushing up, I would say that's a no-no. The rotation machine in the gym. So anything where you have to twist your body to the side bends are fine.
Yeah. But
rotation, avoid. It's the same thing when you're on the floor doing stomach exercises. I would say avoid the rotation once you've had the surgery. If you haven't had surgery, you can do whatever you like, really. It's not going to make any difference.
Yeah.
And just put your strength up. But The other exercise I would say to avoid, there are lots of leg exercises you can do. The one I would say avoid is the leg press machine in the gym, because you're pushing your feet against the weight and your back is also being compressed against the seat.
Yes.
So when you bring your knees in with a leg press and then push out, you're compressing your spine. And that's really not a good thing. There's a lot of strain as well. And people often, if they're overloaded, they'll often start using their back muscles rather than their leg muscles to push.
Yes. Yeah. That is probably one of the most important things here, isn't it? That anything where if you didn't have a fusion, you would start to compensate with your back.
Yes.
This is where you have to be careful, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if it doesn't feel right, if you're in an exercise class, I always say to people, if it doesn't feel right, just stop. It doesn't matter. Just let everyone else get on with it. It's not for you. There are lots of people who do that for all different conditions. So just stop, do a stretch, and just wait for the next exercise.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Good. And then there was also, you said about abdominal crunches.
Yes. Yes. So a little tiny crunch is okay, but it's like literally you're talking about a centimetre up, a centimetre down, an inch, that sort of thing. But what you don't want to be doing is putting your hands behind your head and yanking yourself so that your chin's going onto your chest like that.
Yeah.
And yanking yourself up. That's a no. And full sit-ups as well should be completely avoided. Now, when you're swinging all the way up and all the way back, I would say avoid that.
Yeah.
The other exercise I'd be careful of for abs is if you're doing lower abs and you put if your legs are straight above you and you're starting from there and you're taking your legs down a little bit, that's fine. Or even bringing them in towards your face, that's fine. But starting from lying down with your feet flat and lifting your legs from the floor, I would completely avoid anything. And also try and keep your legs a little bit bent and avoid straight legs.
Yeah.
Take the pressure off the spine.
Even one leg at a time? Is that okay?
One leg at a time, but high. Keep it high. Nothing, sort of not a full, I would avoid a full scissor. High, little. Yeah.
So it's that from all the way down to the floor to pick the leg up. That's where we would be using, if we weren't strong enough, the lumbar spine, isn't it? Where we would be pulling
exactly.
in that way.
Exactly. And I would also say when it comes to a plank, just make sure that your hips are elevated slightly, so you're not in a complete straight line. My physiotherapist I think he is the main physiotherapist. He does a lot of research in childhood scoliosis and idiopathic, and he really doesn't like it when somebody's completely straight. Prefers to elevate the hips slightly so you can really engage the abs and suck in. So your body should be slightly up. It takes the pressure off.
Yeah, I had a discussion with someone about this the other day, because this is how I practice my plank. So I had a photo of me, and I was kind of like this.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah. And then they were saying, oh, my physio said to me, that's not right, that's not good, you have to be in a straight line. And I just said, look, if I'm in a straight line, it actually hurts my back. It doesn't feel good for me, and I don't have a fusion. So I completely agree. It's you have to adjust these things, isn't it?
If it hurts, stop. Don't work through pain. You know, I always say muscle pain. So if your quads are hurting you because you're doing lots of squats, that's fine. But anything in your bones, your joints, if it doesn't feel right, you've got back, you have to stop and stretch straight away.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Good. So you've got some exercises for us, I think.
Yes. Okay, so this is a row, and because we find ourselves at home, not able to go to the gym at the moment, I would normally use a band. But if you don't have a band, don't worry about it, because you can either use a pair of leggings from upstairs, that makes it quite a tight band, or a pair of tights. So I'll show you with the band first, and then I'll show you with the tights. You can always adapt anything in your house. You'll be amazed. You've got pots and pans for weights, a packet of dog food as well, you know, the big bags. So I'm trying to adapt to everything. So I've just looped my band around my treadmill. So I'm going to start with your feet hip width apart, just over hip width apart. Slight bend in the knee. Make sure your pelvis is tilted slightly upwards. Hold your stomach in, shoulders down, arms out, slightly bent, and just bring your arms towards you, with your elbows outwards. And this is working your lats. So the muscles at the back, which are the muscles that come around here. So this exercise will strengthen. And it's a really important exercise. And I'll just show you with a pair of tights.
So you could loop this around a door handle, for example, or?
Yes, you could move it around a door handle, or better obviously make sure the door's facing inwards, or even better a banister.
Yes.
The bottom banister.
Banister, really, yeah.
I often use the banister for stretching. It's great.
Yes, so do I, yeah.
Yeah. So again, these are a pair of tights. The thicker they are, the tighter the band and the tension. Okay. So just squeeze your lats together and come forward. Your head straight ahead.
Brilliant. And how many would you do of those?
I would start off, if you've just had surgery and you're just starting, you're allowed to exercise, I would start with what I call exercise allergy introduction. Okay, so it's just how you would with an allergy. If you thought you had something, you'd maybe try a strawberry and then see, wouldn't have any other fruit that day, and then see your reaction. Same thing when you're starting back to exercise after any surgery, really, but after, you know, we're talking about specifically scoliosis. I would start with 6. That's it. Don't do anything else that day. See how you feel. 2 days' time, try 2 sets of 6 and see how you are. If after the 3rd go, you're absolutely fine, maybe you've got a bit of tingling because those muscles have been cut when you had the surgery, you might find that. But if you're really all right, then you know that exercise is fine for you. And I would try and apply that to building up after surgery. So you'd start with maybe 1 exercise one day, 2 the next, feel okay, 3 the next. If you don't feel great, then you know which exercise it is that's irritated you. So you don't do that one, and then you add another one in, and then you just slowly build. So I would look for this exercise. I'd be looking to do when you're built up 3 sets of 20.
Okay, brilliant.
I'm building the tension with the band as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're in the gym, when we can go back to the gym, the same with the weights. Just start on 5K. I think the minimum on any of those machines, and just slowly build it up.
Yes, so little by little.
Yes.
Good. Lovely, thank you.
So a lovely stretch for your back, which you can do, that we were saying on the banister, is to just put your arms either around a banister or something solid and just sit all the way back. And it's a lovely one. You can do this when you're at work. You've been sitting for a couple of hours and your back's stiff. Just really get up and try and do something like this. And you're pulling out, imagine you've got your knees bent, not over your toes, head in line with your body. I'm going to change angle in a minute so you can see a different way as well. Yeah. And imagine someone's got your hips and they're pulling your hips out of the door or to the other side of the room. So just want to show you on here. Can you see me?
Yes, yeah. Great, yeah. Lovely.
Okay.
So while you're doing that, I mean, I call it the kitchen sink. Because it's the kitchen sink. Yes, yeah, exactly. But I was just thinking, a lot of people ask me about hanging. So just like hanging up, is that something you would do?
Yes. I'm going to turn then. So yes, I love hanging as well. Really, really good. So find somewhere that's solid that you can hang from. Do you often use a door, top of a door?
If I can, yeah, it depends on the door. I usually use the playground. Well, not anymore, but
yeah, a really good one. So I use this in my gym.
Yeah.
And when you hang, it depends where you are. Either your feet will be off the floor totally, but if they're on the floor, bend your knees and try and sit down. So not sitting back and not curving your spine. Just suck your stomach in so you don't arch your back at all, and just sit all the way down if you can. And you get a really great stretch, especially straight from the back. Especially as when we're sitting down working for hours on a laptop, our spine, as we know, becomes sort of compressed down. This is really good to open up, especially if you can also, then you've done something silly and you've pulled something. I always say to my clients, do that banister stretch.
Yeah.
And do the hanging. So yes, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. And you still have the feet on the ground, isn't it? So you have a little bit of, you're not completely free hanging on there.
No, my feet are on the ground. And do you also have your feet on the ground, or do you?
I prefer to, because it's too strong otherwise for.
Yes, I agree with you. So I mean, some people do like to come off the ground, but my feet were on the ground, and as I said, knees slightly bent and trying to sit down.
Yeah, you have more control over it, isn't it? How little or how much you want.
Yes, I agree. You know, otherwise you feel like your arms are being pulled out of sockets.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So this exercise is one of my favourites. It's called bent arm pullover. Now, you can use a weight, but as an alternate, a water bottle or a few bags of rice in a plastic bag to make a weight as well, be absolutely fine. Anything that's got a little bit of weight, not too much.
So what weight would you start with?
So I'm using a 2K weight for demonstration.
Okay.
For scoliosis, you shouldn't really go over 5K for lifting. That's what I was told by my surgeon. Okay. If you haven't had surgery, then you can go heavier, but with surgery, you're better off to do more reps and really put a stress on your back. So I'm going to demonstrate this with 2K. So and obviously you're not with a trainer because you're by yourself at home. The way to lift a weight and to take it down safely, either with the water bottle or with the weight, would be to take the weight and push it to your body. And then you slowly, slowly, slowly calm down. Okay? And then get yourself into position. So this exercise is for your lats, your chest, your triceps. So it's a really excellent all-round exercise. Push your back into the floor so your pelvis is slightly tilted upwards. Make sure, this is a big thing of mine with ponytails, make sure that your ponytail isn't making your head sit funny. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So keep it, just loosen it up a bit. Bring your arms up above your chest. Make sure your wrists are nice and straight and strong. Also make sure that the elbows are ever so slightly bent and they're not out like this, so that they're in. And you're going to take the weight and your hands above your head, back, keeping your back into the floor and making sure your elbows are fixed. So the only thing that's moving is your shoulder joint. That's it. So I'm going to just show you to demonstrate, which I think I know helps my clients how not to do it. Doing this. Okay?
Don't whack yourself in the face.
Don't whack yourself in the head. It's not we're not doing triceps, so we're not doing this one.
Yeah.
It's for your lat, and you should. It's actually such a lovely exercise. It's my favourite because it really does. It's like a three in one.
Yeah.
So back again and forward, and when you've finished, bring the weight to your body and just rest, and then you can do some more reps. Again, start with 6 and just build up so that you're doing 6 the first time, 2 sets of 6 the second time, eventually to build up to 3 sets of 20. And I can also use the water bottle. Now, to put the weight down, what I would recommend is rolling the weight down onto the side of your body, really, really gently. And then to get up, move your body back so you're not going to hit the weight. I've got the water bottle there, so move that out of the way. Here we go. Roll onto your side and push your hands up as if you were getting out of bed. Go over onto all fours, and then you can slowly come up to standing.
Lovely. So anything else, any other tips that you've got for somebody maybe who's been through surgery kind of a long time ago, but is now thinking, oh, I should really be doing something for my body, but they are kind of scared to start?
I would start with walking, first of all. Walking's always great. Build up to 20 minutes a day if you can. And whilst we're all at home, there's lots of different fitness videos, especially yours. So
yes, mine as well.
Start with your fitness videos, which are amazing. So and just start really gently. Just don't suddenly decide, oh, I think I need to exercise. Let's just do this 3-4 times a week. Just do it maybe on Monday, then try a little bit again on Thursday. That's enough, and just start to build it up and not do a whole hour.
Yes.
To start with, if you're really starting from basics, just be gentle on your body, and you'll find if you just take it slowly, your strength will just build as you go, and you'll suddenly realize after 6 weeks, goodness me, I can do that, and I couldn't do it before.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Brilliant advice.
What you were demonstrating before with the planks, with the high plank on your hands, that's a really great one. Just to hold that position for 5 seconds, and then try and build it up to 7, and then to 10. That's really, really good. I found that doing that exercise to downward dog was amazing in building up my lats after surgery. Yeah.
Great. Good. So when is the book out? When can we buy it?
Well, it's available for pre-sale, but actually the launch date is on Tuesday. So it's available on Amazon and on Waterstones as well. Yep. Kindle version and paperback.
So Tuesday, just by the time this is coming out, Tuesday might have gone already. So we're talking about Tuesday, 31st of March.
Yes. Bit strange having a book coming out with all of the things that are going on at the moment.
Yes, well, life goes on, isn't it? And we all had things planned, didn't we? And then we just now have to adjust our plans. But that's
absolutely, we have to adapt. And there's no reason why people can't carry on exercising at home. And there's lots of things that you can do.
Yes.
And just walk around your house and think, okay, I could use that for some stretching, or that for a little bit of weight. There's
and there's a really lovely kind of long section with very clear exercises obviously in there. So there's the lower plank we were talking about. So I think this is going to be very useful for people everyone's stuck at home, but if you have spinal fusion and you want to slowly kind of get into your exercises, or even if you're exercising already, it might give you some new ideas.
Yes, absolutely. And you can have, I mean, there's all different sections. What I've also got in the book at the back, just before the index, is an index where the exercises, they're all over the place in the book, because I've done it in sections, weights and exercise bands and Pilates ring, etc. So I've also put together at the back an index where you can see, if you just wanted to do abs, you can see where all the abs are. And it's designed, and you can use it on the Kindle, but if you've got the book, then find the exercise that you'd like to do. Okay, so that's a lunge, for example. But you could just hopefully just sling it on the floor, and the writing is big enough that you could follow the exercise.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely very practical. Well done.
Thank you. And going back to the don'ts, you'll see in the book as well that they're highlighted quite clearly with a big cross.
Yes.
So that's really, really important.
Yeah. Brilliant. Good. So how can people find you if they want to get in touch with you?
They can find me on Instagram at Scoliosis Handbook, and also on Facebook. My website is Scoliosis Handbook.com, and my email is info@scoliosishandbook.com. And you can get hold of me there. If you want to talk to me, I can also, if you leave me your phone number, message me, and I can always speak. I'm really happy to speak to anyone at all. So I'm really easy to get hold of for any questions that we haven't necessarily covered here, and something that you might want to ask privately.
Yeah,
obviously confidential. So yes.
Thank you. Yes. I will link to all of this in the description below as well, so people can click through that straight away. And you offer personal training sessions?
Yes, I also offer personal training sessions. At the moment, they're on Zoom. So I'm happy to give personal training session on Zoom. I'd recommend probably about half an hour, one-to-one training. It's quite intense, isn't it, when you do it on Zoom as opposed to in person. But I would really have to go through your health history properly to see how you are before I would do that.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you very much. That was very informative.
Thank you. I really hope it helps people. And a percentage of my royalties are going to Aspire Leisure Centre at Stanmore Orthopaedic to help with spinal diseases. Yeah, so that's nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me to come on here.